Hey guys, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the PlayStation 2 and Wii version of Sonic Unleashed. In the last episode, we did Dragon Road by day, but it wasn't the only day stage that we unlocked. We also unlocked something new. We also unlocked the day stages in Rooftop Run. However, just before we go over there, we have another door that's ready for us to open over in Apotus. So let's head over to the Gaia Gate first and just fulfill the little challenge that we have to do in there eventually. By the way, this is probably the most boring loading screen in Sonic history. No, what am I saying? At least it doesn't go on for 30 seconds. That's why the PlayStation 2 version of Shadow the Hedgehog is worse. They vary, but for some reason in Shadow the Hedgehog, on the PlayStation 2, the cutscene load screens, of all things, not the level ones. I mean, they're quite long, but they're not as bad as the cutscene ones, which sometimes can take as little as like 15 seconds. I say little, that's ridiculous. But sometimes they can last longer than Sonic 06's loading screens, because I have timed them. I mean, Sonic 06's loading screens seem to vary as well. Sometimes, even when it's just loading a level, it can be 20 seconds or it could be 30 seconds. But from what I've seen, when I timed them, the Shadow the Hedgehog ones took around 25 seconds or something. 06 was around the 20-second mark. It was longer for a cutscene compared to loading a level in Sonic 06. That's the PS3 version of Sonic 06, I might add. And yeah, I stupidly decided to stand in the light when I wanted Sonic to turn into the Werehog. That makes total sense. Although I swear, this lasts a lot longer than it should do. That's something and something else. I'm sure this is lasting longer than it should. Oh no, I must be thinking of somewhere else. Somewhere it feels like it didn't want to end. Unfortunately, now I need to use some... Well no, I've got to get out of here first. Those few footsteps, Sonic always does that. You know, just so you don't fall back down. I wish all games did that, because I do have a few games I can't name off the top of my head right now that do that. Sonic just... No, actually, Sonic Adventure 2 is one of the worst ones with that. Sonic can go up, they'll grab a hold of the side, and then immediately fall back down again because they don't move forwards. There are a few moments where it does cause you to have a little bit of a close call with going over the other side of the platform, but he doesn't... I appreciate the step forwards. I can't remember what the HD version does. But then again, in the HD version, most of the time I just do that trick where if you jump as Sonic reaches the height in which he grabs a hold of it, he does a spin jump like he would as normal Sonic. It's weird how that is how you are able to perform that ability. So the Gaia Gate is locked out now, but we can still talk to the other... So we have to talk to Otto first, but before that, I am finally going to get this CD. Hey, Ippolita has something she wants to give you. A present just for you. Do you want it? Sure I do. Here's something to remind you that we're friends. If you truly love someone, you'll remember what they look like. Okay, we don't love her and we it's not a family photo. I just wanted to say that because I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But so we're going to talk to Otto, and then he's going to give us the Sun tablets. We head over to Aqueduct Street. The image of the hub world makes it look a lot bigger than it actually is. Begonia is actually, I'd say, one of the smaller hub worlds in the HD version. It's got a few alleyways, but only about 2 of them. I would say it is one of the smaller hub worlds. Well, which one's the smallest, I'm not sure. I'm tempted... not counting the entrance stages, because it's like 2 parts of the hub world. In terms of the main hub, I would say it's probably Holliska. Then I'd probably say Eggman Land, and then Missouri, and then Apotus. The largest one is Shamar. It's definitely Shamar is the largest. I couldn't pick after that. Not sure about Chenan. Well, actually, Empire City is a very small hub world. A very small hub world with a very low frame rate, thanks to that waterfall in the middle. And we're never going to be seeing Empire City or Skyscraper Scamper, anything related to it, in this game. It is completely missing. Missouri had the day stage. Sorry, Missouri didn't have the day stage. It had a boss fight and it had a hub world. Empire City is nowhere to be seen. And again, it's my biggest problem with this game. I don't get why 2 of the stages are missing. It's like, yeah, you have the Egg Beetle fight, you have the hub world, but where are the actual stages in Missouri? Why can't I just go over to that mysterious hole in the hub world and then rescue Professor Pickle? Yeah, there should be an actual stage into getting to him. And that's what the HD version does. We have an actual stage to reach him. We have an actual stage to catch up to the Egg Beetle. But we don't get that here. We just find Professor Pickle, we just get to the Egg Beetle. So that's how we got there so quickly, because there was no stage. Forget the fact that we're the fastest thing alive. And Empire City is missing completely. I can do without the Tornado Defense stuff, because they're boring. Alright, welcome to Rooftop Run. A stage that is named as such because we spend almost the entire level on the ground. Just like in the night stages where we spend most of it on the ground. We do run on some rooftops, and I really hate the placement of that item box because it's incredibly easy to miss. And it forces you to, no, we're not playing Sonic Forces, but it forces you to come to a stop. And this one, again, has one of the strictest S ranks. Even when you're not going for the items, this is one of the tough ones. This one also has one of the highest count in item boxes, I would say. I don't know if it is the highest, but it's definitely up there. Yeah, this one took me multiple tries, but unlike Shannon, I did not get this one on my first try in the test playthrough. I never did. This is one of the hardest. And the timing for this jump right here. A lot of the time that cursor does not like to appear. I can jump on the first enemy and then nothing happens. And I clearly went through that rainbow ring. You see, we run on the sides of the buildings, although I'm pretty sure that I'm running literally, that building is covered in like holes that like make up the windows, I guess. There's clearly holes, those black squares, and I can just run straight along them. And sadly we don't have that awesome shot of Sonic grinding down the clock tower. This stage doesn't look nearly as spectacular, but weaker hardware, I can expect it. It's still a fun stage just to go through normally. See, we do run along some rooftops, just not that many. It's weird how in the HD version, this is one of the longer day stages. Now, Jungle Joyride is the longest, but this is probably the second longest. Assuming you don't know where all the shortcuts are in Arid Sands. But in this one, it's actually one of the shortest. Right, so when you get off of this one, turn around, and then just run off the side of the building. Sometimes Sonic sort of moves backwards when I try and run off the building. I don't know what causes that. That's probably what's going to cause me to fail the S rank. I don't know what causes it, but it doesn't always happen. So then we have the Egg Chaser sequence. There's only one of them in this game. The HD version, we of course, there's 3 of them at once and more of them appear. You got to try and shoot. You got to boost into the Egg Fighters to knock them into the Arrow Chasers, or Egg Chasers. The Arrow Chasers in this and Colors are Egg Chasers in Generations, I believe. Here it's not nearly as interesting. Because I'm boosting, I can just ignore it. Sometimes I even end up going through the laser and not taking any damage. And they take 2 hits to be destroyed. You just gotta make sure, watch out for the item boxes right at the end. One time, I think it was during the test playthrough actually, as it flew away, I hit the goal ring and I still got hurt by the missiles that it fires out. Because they do sort of home in on you and they land right in front of you. But just like the laser, there are times where I will pass right through them. I don't get it either. And we did have a wall jumping section in that level. So, Rooftop Run in the HD version, this is where you would unlock the wall jump. So, they do give you the training for it in this level, just like the Stomp and Cool Edge. Except, and it's the only time that happens, the wall jump tutorial mission is optional. Like, it isn't one of the ones that's going to automatically send you to. Even though we did the Stomp at the beginning, before we went into Cool Edge, and when we get to Arid Sands, it does have a mandatory Lightspeed dash section, you know, that ability that I just had to use there to get the rings. In a much earlier stage. It will give us that tutorial after we've done the main stage. But the wall jump tutorial is completely optional. I will be going through it in this video, but it's completely optional, you don't have to do it. Which is weird. I think it's the one that you automatically unlock when you finish the day stages. So why not just make us do it? You know, it's a tutorial for an ability. That would be quite useful to know. I don't know how far this stage makes you go when you're collecting rings. So if all the others are mandatory, why is that one not mandatory? Why not just give us these instructions at the beginning? See, we've got 2 missions there. One is a regular mission and one is just a tutorial. It's such a weird thing to do. I mean, I guess they didn't want the tutorial going on for too long, but if that's the case, why not just have make a little mini stage where you practice all of your abilities? Because that's sort of what the HD version does. It's like it allows you to practice the boost. There's a section where you got to try and avoid the spike balls, so that practices your quick step. There are some objects that you can homing attack or enemies to attack. Practices your homing attack. That's it. That pretty much everything, because you don't have all of the abilities from the start in that version. And then when you get to the entrance stages, it requires you to collect the item, and then you need that as your practice in order to get to the actual entrance to the day stage. You need to air boost to gain access to Dragon Road. You need to wall jump to gain access to Rooftop Run, and so on. But that's it's just such a weird timing. I mean, if you read the instruction manual, it tells you all of your abilities. So you have that. But I was a kid. I didn't want to read. I still can't read that well. I mean, that's clear whenever I try and read text, but I can't look at the text for very long without it going blurry. The smaller the text, the worse it gets. The more tired I am, the worse it gets. And the fact that I get my words mixed up when I'm reading all the time. We've seen it throughout this playthrough. I'm sure there are other games where that sort of thing happens. Probably like in Jurassic Park or something like that. I'm sure there are plenty. By the way, if at any point it sounds like the Werehog's jumps are out of sync, it's probably something to do with the upscaler's connection. I guess as it's recording the game, there's a slight delay. I guess just gets bigger the longer you're recording for. I don't know. I am making this up. I don't know if that's actually what's causing it, but it's not noticeable throughout the entire thing until you reach like an hour and 20 or an hour and 30. And it's really when I get to Rooftop Run that I start noticing it. So we're trying to make them a bit more in sync. But the Werehog's jump was really out of sync there, and when we return to the Gaia Gate later on. So now we're practicing the wall jump. And I really should have read this, because on my first playthrough I was stuck here, wondering what the hell I'm supposed to do, even though he's telling me right now. But I couldn't work this out. I think it's because you've got to be a distance from the wall in order to actually make it work. That's all you got to do. Even then, I still find it to be quite unresponsive. The wall jump is not great in this version. I find it quite awkward, really. Because you don't just zip to the wall. It's like ha 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 and stuff like that that Sonic does in this game and Colors and to an extent Generations. I think Forces. I'm not sure. And even the parkour in Lost World. But he doesn't do that here. He actually does like his standard spin jump when he gets off the wall. So it's a lot slower and a bit floatier. It throws me off. Right, so this time we have to get around this Aero Chaser section without getting hurt. And again, we have rings when we get them. Doesn't matter. You still can't get hurt. The item box near the beginning here. Don't homing attack the robot right there. Because I think at least twice I have encountered a glitch where I have homing attacked the Aero Chaser right at that beginning part. And I guess I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. because I hit the... as Sonic went towards the arrow chaser... Okay, he really should have... No, I didn't actually. It was... I didn't hear something the first time. That's what I'm trying to tell you not to do. He went up into the air, through the building, really, really high, and then I fell... Then I went out of bounds. There was no floor beneath me. And so I just fell, and then I fell to my death. Thankfully, there is a death plane down there. It doesn't just make you fall indefinitely. It's not like... how many games have I done? I've done that in a few games. Intentionally or unintentionally. And my favourite was actually in Spider-Man, the PS4 game. It's like I was looking for one of the backpacks. I jumped down and then suddenly I was hit by a train. And I think I was like climbing down the wall at the time. So I hit the train. Spider-Man not only fell through the wall, he then fell through the floor. And I was just falling forever and ever and ever. It's like I'm worried because I'm thinking, is this going to do something? Is this going to break something? It shouldn't do, but I then have to reset the game, do a soft reset, but it was great, because I just felt I got hit by a train and it caused me to fall down into hell. Actually it was light, so I guess it was heaven, but I fell into heaven. Yeah, that's where I found that the jumping was really out of sync in the sound effects. And even on occasions it seems to make like an extra jump. Like, I jumped 3 times, but the sound effects, there is a 4th jump. And I don't know why, because I jumped 3 times. There is a 4th sound effect. So I don't know what's causing that. But I'll try and put them a bit more in sync when I get to the final edit. So for some reason, rather than just going straight to it, we have to... Well, no, because we have to put the planet tablet together first. That's why. So we go back to the hub world... Get also to fix up the planet tablet, go back to the Gaia Gate, and then we gain access to our second daytime boss fight, and what is by far the worst boss in the game. This is the Egg Devil Ray. In the HD version, this boss fight is great. Weirdly, it's not Eggman piloting it, you hear Orbot instead, and there's like 2 of these tiny little robots that can lose their heads when you're attacking them. They're pretty resilient, actually, despite being the smallest enemy in the game. They're what's piloting it, and you hear Orbot instead of Eggman. Same for the next daytime boss as well. You don't see the robots, but you hear Orbot. Don't know why, you think it would be Eggman, but it is Eggman you hear here, for this and the next one. And in the HD version, you can boost into the shield. You've got to be careful, because... if you keep boosting, Sonic is just going to take damage. But you can boost into the shield, that deactivates it, and then you boost into the Egg Devil Ray. In this version, you can't do anything. You have to wait for the shield to drop, and then either boost or homing attack into it. And you need to hit this thing a lot of times. Like that 3-minute 40 time limit is easy as long as you attack him in every opportunity you get. And you'll still be able to clear this with plenty of time left to spare. But I imagine that's going to be tight if you fail just once to hit him. With how long you have to wait, especially at the end, where the attacks start lasting a lot longer. Also, this thing doesn't look a thing like a Devil Ray. For those of you who do not know, think of Manta Ray. The Manta Ray is a Devil Ray. Because it's got those little fins at the front of its head that look like horns. Like that's why they're called... I believe that's why they're called Devil Rays. But like, this thing is actually a fish with just those laser things at the front. And it's got those 2 thingies down by the cockpit that fire those orange balls that I find to be quite difficult to avoid. Especially when you're also trying to stay close to the cockpit so that you can attack it when the opportunity comes. It's like when we get to the next fight, the Egg Lancer. Ooh, the video froze for a bit there. When we get to the next fight in the Egg Lancer, you can actually attack it while it's performing that orange energy ball thing. So you can attack it, you can damage it. I think you can do it twice, or that might just be the HD version, but you can actually attack it. It's weird. I find the SD boss fights for the night stages, I find them easier than the HD one. But the day stages are the other way around. Like, besides the Egg Beetle, where he's mainly the HD version is harder just because you're moving faster and its attacks are harder to avoid. It's otherwise the same thing. But this fight is so much faster. And as a result, it's much easier. The Egg Lancer is mostly the same, but again, I feel you have more opportunities to attack, and it's just easier. The attacks are easier to avoid. It's like, yeah, you gotta search for the medals during the boss fights, but other than that, they are so much better. Whereas the Night Zone boss fights are generally harder. Like the Dark Gaia Phoenix is the same, but the Dark Moray is harder because you've got to hit him in certain places, or you can hit him anywhere here. And the Dark Guardian is a completely different fight. If you can even call it a fight in the HD version.
Not a bad toy, but playtime's...
And then the Egg Dragoon is harder because he can actually do attacks. And then Dark Gaia is harder because I hate Dark Gaia in the HD version. Yeah, like that fight is hard for all the wrong reasons. This one is harder for the right reasons. Because, well, if you've seen my every 3D Sonic game, there it is. There's that mural again. They're going to ignore it. If you've seen the countdown video for all 15 3D Sonic games, I said that Dark Gaia HD is one of my least favourite final bosses. Alfuelo Alela is worse because it kills your shoulders. But Dark Gaia is much longer. Except I fail at Alfuelo Alela so much, I still end up being there for about an hour. Both playthroughs of Secret Rings. I've been in that fight for like an hour. My shoulders were dead by the end of it. And then Solaris is just annoying, but it's at least a short fight. Whereas this version of Dark Gaia is probably my favourite final boss in the series. Now the second continent has been the third continent to be restored. Why have we named the continents? I mean, they'll be fine from this point onwards. They are 4, 5, and 6, and 7, but I don't know why they bothered numbering them. Why not just say Spagonia has been restored? Or something like that. I mean, it's the whole continent. It's not just Spagonia, but still. Wouldn't that make more sense? Ah, Sonic, your timing is impeccable! Additional study of the Gaia manuscripts has yielded new information. Your next destination is the frigid region of snow and ice, Holoska. You will need to consult the local population for details. We look forward to hearing good news from you, Sonic. Again, why didn't we just go to Holoska straight away? Like, why couldn't we just do day and night? The locals have the planet tablets there. That's all I need. Why don't we just do this one continent at a time? That makes more sense to me. But anyway, we got more Werehog up next. We're finally going to restore Holoska. It's been a while. So, I will see you guys then.